Dave was asking, you presented in the acoustical study at Horse Creek, which is a PPM project, the background sound at certain monitoring points, 28, 32, 33 in that range. And then you predicted through the modeling you're talking about, the layout of the turbines, what the sound level of the receptors would be. And that was varied over dozens of receptors.
Correct.
The receptors, many of them, literally dozens, were 15, 14.8, 15.3 above the ambient. Okay. When you looked at the transportation railroad curve that you put up, once you exceed 15, even in railroads, that was very significant. Okay. In your professional opinion, is exceeding ambient by 15, even though there's a fixed limit of 50 decibels in the community, in your professional opinion, exceeding ambient by 15 plus an appropriate sound level for a non-participant?
Well, I think one point to make on the railroad standards is that that's all kind of LEQ or DNL based. So you have to, I think you want to look at things in terms of a number of potentially statistical levels. If you're looking at just an L90 or an L50 or an LEQ, I think there can be some variability there. And it also does depend on the absolute level that you come up with. I think what you see folks looking at,
Let me ask the question a different way. You worked on the Oregon standard. They said that if you aren't going to measure, 26 is the ambient. I believe Oregon is 5 dB above ambient.
The Oregon standard is at 10 decibels above the hourly L50 limit, and that standard has been in existence prior to wind. So that was an existing state standard, and what we were working on there was, given the nature of the developments that happen in that area, could there be some conservative assumptions made where a study would not need to be conducted? So basically what we said is if the developer was willing to accept a level of 36 at that location, that there was really no need to go out and collect any sort of ambient monitoring data, and so there was
Can't really get an answer on Horse Creek. Are you familiar with it? Did you participate?
Yeah. I did the monitoring for it.
And I've said in many public presentations, I think CH2M Hill did the best job of any acoustical consultant. But when you wrote in the report, it said 15 decibels above the measured ambient. I believe I read CH2M Hill's professional opinion that was significant, even though, that it exceeded the recommendations of New York State DEC policy. However, the local jurisdiction had a 50 decibel ambient, so therefore it met the requirement. I believe that's how. In your professional opinion,
I think that's right.
In your professional opinion, you go with 50 in lieu of the New York State recommendation, or would you advise your client, being the developer, gee, maybe you ought to look at the layout a little bit more closely to protect some of the non-participants?
I think you want to do a little bit of both. I think you want to try and work towards making sure that your non-participants understand the project and perhaps can share in a project to a certain extent.
Thank you.
But I think it's a variable. It's a variable issue, and I think you also have to look at how other industry is evaluated and treated, and so